KNS is here for you with 6 News at 5:30.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Siobhan Klepfer. Let's start the clock in our first 6 minutes of news. And we have an update for you in the school shooting that happened today in Madison, Wisconsin. Police say a teenage student at the Abundant Life Christian School killed a teacher and another student. The shooter, they say, was a girl, and she is dead in what police say is likely an act of suicide. The private school has about 390 students in grades from kindergarten through high school. The shooting happened shortly before 11 a.m. Officials say 6 other people were injured. 2 of them have critical injuries.
County is at the 80.
Well, this crash you just saw happened on Thursday along I-94 in Kalamazoo County, and today the sheriff's office says 2 firefighters were injured. They originally reported that only the box truck driver was hurt. Deputies say 1 firefighter hurt his wrist, the other his back. Both are being treated for their injuries. In a Kent County courtroom today, a judge sentenced 19-year-old Peyton Ferris to 2 years probation for driving into and killing 25-year-old tow truck driver Keegan Spencer. This happened in November of last year in Caledonia Township. Spencer had pulled over to help a stray dog, and that's when Ferris lost control of his vehicle and hit him. Ferris pleaded no contest in the case. If he violates his probation, he could be sent to jail for a year. Investigators from the Kalamazoo Valley Enforcement Team say they arrested a man on Thursday for having, quote, delivery amounts of heroin, fentanyl, and other drugs. The 55-year-old is already on federal probation and had a warrant out for violating that probation. Police say they were acting on a tip that he was selling the drugs.
We're going to go for a driving ticket.
Well, that white car was reported stolen out of East Lansing. Livingston County Sheriff's deputies spotted the car in Brighton on Sunday. The suspect drove around stop sticks that police put out ahead of the car, but crashed into a ditch. Police say they arrested the 24-year-old driver as well as 2 passengers, also from Lansing. Well, take a look at this. Luckily, nobody was swimming in this fitness center pool in California on Friday when someone drove through the wall and into the water. Only the driver was in the car at the time, and their injuries were minor. Looking at international stories now today, French officials sent ships and military aircrafts with rescuers and supplies to the small French territory of Mayotte. The region is still recovering from a deadly cyclone that hit on Saturday. Authorities say hundreds, maybe thousands, have been killed in the area's worst cyclone in a century. As the war between Israel and Gaza continues, Palestinian health officials reported today that more than 45,000 people there have been killed in the fighting. They said almost 107,000 others have been injured. The health ministry's count does not distinguish between civilians and combatants. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, the country's military intelligence agency, along with the Pentagon, said today about 30 North Korean troops have been killed fighting with Ukrainian forces. And these are the first reported casualties for North Korean troops since they joined Russia in the war. Officials say North Korea sent 10,000 to 12,000 troops. Some political news for you now. Former Michigan State Senator Curtis Hertel announced today that he is running for the chair of the Michigan Democratic Party. In a statement, Hertel says he wants to put Democrats back in control of the state house and defend the progress they've made. He thanked current chair Lavora Barnes and says he wants to continue her work. The statement goes on to say Governor Gretchen Whitmer endorsed Hertel for party chair. Hertel ran for Congress to represent Michigan's 7th district, but lost in November to Republican Tom Barrett. And on the national stage, March for Our Lives co-founder David Hogg announced today that he is running to be vice chair of the Democratic National Committee. The 24-year-old says Democrats have lost ground with younger voters, motivating him to run for a leadership position. Hogg is a Parkland school shooting survivor and is now a prominent gun control activist.
You too. Yay!
Well, that is none other than Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson fulfilling a lifelong dream Saturday night in the hit Broadway musical And Juliet. Jackson once wrote that it was her fantasy to be the first black female Supreme Court justice to appear on a Broadway stage, and now it actually happened. She spoke with CBS's Gayle King after the performance.
5 years ago, I was, a district judge sitting in my office. Nobody knew who I was. And so to have both of the pieces of my fondest dreams come true in this little period of time. It's just been extraordinary for me.
Jackson was featured in 3 scenes, which included her performing Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely, the hit song by the Backstreet Boys. And staying in the Big Apple to wrap up our first 6 minutes of news, a whole gingerbread city with hundreds of tasty buildings is on display at an indoor mall in New York. This is the 30th year that Gingerbread Lane has been built. It looks delicious. The whole display, it holds the Guinness World Record of 1,251 houses, but this year they kept it to 720 houses. And they're going to be on display through January 5th, and then they're going to be, Kendall, handed out for free, with the remainder going to some farm animals. That was one of my questions, is what do you do with all of that deliciousness after the festivities are over? But you give them out for free and you let other people enjoy it.
Exactly, over 700 houses, so a lot of people and animals are going to be enjoying them
too. It'd be hard to not, enjoy yourself while walking around, you know what I mean? Like, just a little piece of the chimney, no one's going to notice.
You're going to have to practice a lot of restraint walking through there.
Yeah.
Well,